Lance, what are the four turnings that have occurred in the last 8 years?
Yeah, well, the fourth turning concept is pretty powerful, and what it basically says is that every 20 years, Jim, there is a generational cycle. So we got the baby boomers. I think you and I might still be in that category. The baby boomers. Then you got the Gen Xers, and then who comes after the millennials? And then the millennials, and then we got Gen Z, which comes after that. Every 20 years, there's a shift in disposition that happens. If you notice, it's a fascinating thing that it's 20-year cycles in American history. But when you've completed one whole cycle, Jim, of 80 years of those steps, every 80 to 100 years, America, this highly prophetic, beautiful country that has been historic in its impact, it goes through a crisis. It was birthed in a crisis in the Revolutionary War. It entered into its crucible of crises again in the Civil War. And each time you complete that 80 to 100-year cycle, America gets tested to see whether it will continue to walk with God into its destiny. The next cycle came in the Great Depression and World War II. And now we're in the next turning. There were two authors I studied that had written about this in the 1990s. And being a futurist and a prophetic global analyst, I started looking for these models. We're hitting our fourth turning right now, which is a crisis like the Civil War, which is why you hear people talking about, Lance, is there going to come a Civil War? Or the Revolutionary War, which is why we got a counterfeit revolution in America, or the Great Depression and World War II, which means if America goes down economically, you will see foreign nations start to gobble up the globe and America entangled in conflict. It could be that all the crises we've ever had comes together in this next turning. Now, if Donald Trump is president, there will be stability for that 3 or 4 year period of time that is ahead of us. If he isn't, then you're going to see the rapid combination of those crises. But this turning is also intersecting the 400th year anniversary of the founding of the nation with the Mayflower Compact. And people are missing this because the Mayflower Project was actually a church relocation project. These were Christians fleeing persecution. They came to America, and when they landed, they dedicated themselves and the land to the survival of Christianity and to the prosperity of Christianity. So what you have now is you have a whole different kind of phenomena happening. We have a fourth turning that is intersecting the 400-year period of time that took place, and November 21st is actually the day when that 400-year convergence happens. So we're right on schedule to have our crisis of testing as to whether we will go through to the future as the nation God called, but it intersects the covenant that we have made when we were founded, that this would be a nation that would honor God and bring the gospel to the nations of the earth in religious liberty. I have to say something else. Mike Pompeo, we've got Christians, Jim, that are in this government that most Christians, average TV watching Christians, don't even know about. We've got Christians staring down the enemies of the United States, the enemies of Israel, and the enemies of religious liberty. And Donald Trump, in his last address to the United Nations, challenged the world to stop the persecution of Christians globally. He said he was shocked at the martyrdom and the oppression that the data that he got from the State Department, and that he wants Mike Pompeo in his next administration to head up a special commission which will be for the protection and preservation of Christians free from persecution throughout the world. So here you've got a real Cyrus, and there are other Cyrus rulers that are in Europe, that are in South America, that are in Asia, that actually have, because it's not just Donald Trump, it's Cyrus rulers, Jim, are rising up because we're coming into that era where kingdom is against kingdom and nation is against nation. And God does not want America to go down, and he doesn't want the Christian witness in these other nations to go down with us. He's giving us time. He's giving us the gift of time. But we have to see, that's why this book's important. We have to see the end game that we're in. It doesn't just end with America. We've got to stand for the sake of global Christianity, and our work as a nation isn't done until the gospel has gone out into all the world in this next chapter of history.